Mom? No, Dad. No, 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 no. Vanessa sat up abruptly in bed. She was thrown into a cold sweat. The dream again. How many years? How to forget? How to get over it? There was another muttering from the girl's room. Hughes is having another fit, another said. Vanessa held back tears. For so many years, her temper had run out in this place. But at heart, she remained a vulnerable, trusting girl, and Vanessa Hughes. 6 months later, she turns 18 and graduates from the orphanage. A lonely, unwanted girl. But it wasn't always like this. Vanessa has lived with a full and happy family for 6 whole years of her life. Was that a lot or a little? That black day was forever imprinted in the girl's memory. And for 12 years now, she's been having nightmares about it. They were going to go to the country. Mom and Dad had a day off for once. In high spirits, they were going on a picnic in the woods. Fresh air, nature, birdsong. A weekend away from the city promised to be wonderful and fun. It had rained during the night. The weather was mild, a light breeze was blowing. The road was not far. An hour and a half one way. Here, Daddy drove the used Toyota out of town and onto the highway. Vanessa sat in the back in a child seat. Mom and Dad in the front. Vanessa was humming some cheerful children's song. A truck passed in front of him. And what happened next? It was like something Vanessa saw in slow motion. Or maybe her imagination had already drawn it and refined the memory over time. A very slippery stretch of highway. Dad didn't slow down in time. A second truck coming towards him. A little farther behind it, another side wind from the second lorry, the Hughes family car. They got a little wobbly. Dad tried to straighten the car out, but flew into the oncoming lorry, right under the wheels of the third lorry. Brakes squealing, smell of burning, glass screeching, pain, screaming. "Who's that?" screamed Vanessa. "Mommy." That piercing scream was still into the girl's dreams. Vanessa woke up in the hospital. All she remembered were the sympathetic looks of the doctors, the whispers outside the door. "Where's my mom?" Vanessa asked everyone who came in. She couldn't tell if it was a doctor, a nurse, or a null, or a near Albauk. Nadro. The nurses, nannies, barely holding back tears, stroked the girl's head. The doctor averted her eyes and tried to make the girl stay comfortable. One day, a woman entered the ward. She sighed and told the girl, "Vanessa, you are discharged. The day after tomorrow, I will come for you. You will have to come with me. You will live with the other children." That was the director of the orphanage, Emily. "What kids? My mom takes me to kindergarten. Where are my mom and my dad? Where are they? Jesus, didn't they say? Vanessa, were you in an accident? Your dad was speeding and you were hit by a truck. Mom and Dad were killed. You had a miraculous escape." Vanessa didn't make much sense out of those words, except dead. "What do you mean, dead? When are Mommy and Daddy coming for me? The girl's busy. My God, what a disaster. Okay, I'll come in 2 days. We'll get used to it." Emily left the room and headed for the maternity ward. "Who's the attending physician for Hughes and Vanessa?" A woman at the window asked in a commanding tone. Behind the desk sat a thin, short, dark hair, medium height, woman with glasses. Wendy, the doctor. "First of all, hello, I'm Wendy, the attending physician. Vanessa, I take it you're from child welfare? Is that a misunderstanding?" "I'm the director of the orphanage. I've already been told by child services that the girl needs to be taken away. But the girl has an aunt. I couldn't reach her today. Maybe she can still take the child." "Camille. She won't take the girl. She's got 3 of her own. Barely made it through the funeral. So you know, the girl's aunt. It doesn't matter. The fact remains. Day after tomorrow, I need the baby's papers. She's being discharged. Hold on. I was trying to cool that Wendy woman down. The girl doesn't even know she's an orphan yet. It should have been said a long time ago. She didn't bother to do it for you. The doctors who sat in the office looked at each other. The whole staff felt sorry for and protected little Vanessa. And everyone believed to the last that the aunt would take her away and gently report everything. In time, well, Wendy said, I'll call Camille again myself. When Emily left, a sigh of displeasure went through the residence. Well, the girl was so unlucky, said the doctor at the far table. The mother and father were lucky in a way. No chance, Vanessa. Mild concussion and a couple of scratches. So, what's next for her? Wendy answered. Okay, I'll try to call my aunt. Maybe she'll take the girl. Wendy went out into the hallway and dialed Camille's number again. On the third ring, Camille answered the phone. Hello, Camille? Asked Wendy. Yes, it's me. Who is this? The woman on the other end of the phone asked. My name is Wendy. I'm the attending physician. Vanessa Hughes. And your niece. What do you Corey, I just want to talk. What do you want from me? Camille asked suspiciously. You know that Vanessa is alone. She's about to be discharged from the hospital. I thought you were thinking what? Camille interrupted the doctor. That's your personal problem. I've already told custody. I thought the girl was already in an orphanage. I was approached by the director of the orphanage. I myself have 3 funerals to go to. What am I going to do with an extra mouth? I understand. Goodbye, and Wendy hung up. The doctor was bitter about the whole thing. Wendy had seen a lot of things in her career. Children were brought into her department after injuries, after falls, after accidents. Many tears were shed in the hallways of this hospital. But all the adults waited, believed, and wanted to take their babies home. Wendy had encountered such callousness perhaps a couple of times in her 15-year career. The woman's heart ached. She headed for Vanessa's room. Hello, Vanessa! Wendy's aunt came to see me, but I don't really understand yet. Tears froze in their eyes. The doctor sat down next to the child, stroked the girl's arm, and tried to speak calmly. You see, baby, you cannot go home after the hospital. It was difficult for Wendy to find words, but there was no psychologist on the staff of the hospital. In the orphanage, given the character of the director, it was unlikely that anyone would be so ceremonious with the new pupil. Where would I go? What about Mom and Dad? How hard it was, baby. How can I explain it to you? Wendy thought bitterly. Vanessa, you see, sometimes it happens that people close to us go away, but they are always there. They live in our hearts and look down on us from the clouds. That aunt said that Mom and Dad died. That means they went to the clouds. Then, I want to go to the clouds too. I don't want to go with that aunt, the little girl cried. Wendy gently hugged the girl, stroked her head, and gently said, You, little one, need to live a happy life. Then, Mommy and Daddy up there in the clouds will be happy. My little girl. The doctor gently stroked the girl, saying warm words until Vanessa fell asleep. Wendy hadn't felt this heavy in a long time. 2 days later, Vanessa was discharged. Emily came to pick her up, and without any unnecessary sentimentality, took Vanessa by the hand and led her to her new home, the orphanage. The orphanage welcomed Vanessa with its cold walls, painted in green. Vanessa looked around. She was scared. In the hallway, another woman was walking towards her. Is she new? The woman asked the principal. Yes, after the accident you were assigned to Ward 4. The new woman was Nancy, the teacher of the group where Vanessa was assigned. She took the girl by the hand and led her to the ward. Vanessa Ramokor, Akakarmans Tornair. I'm telling you right away, this is a strict institution. We live on a schedule. You went to daycare, right? We have a routine here. Wake up in the morning, exercise, breakfast, then class. You're going to school soon, so you must study hard. The woman is talking. She spoke as if she didn't care if Vanessa listened or not. Soon they came to a room. This is the fourth room of the girls. Is this where you'll be staying? Nancy opened the door. Come out and take that bed over there. The girls will be back from class soon, so we'll get to know each other. Today's your orientation day. From tomorrow, you'll be on the regiment. Vanessa sat down on the bed and squeezed herself into a ball. It seemed to her that everything was a dream. It couldn't be, because she had a family of mom and dad, and she had her own room. How could so many children live in one room? No, this was a mistake, and Vanessa clapped loudly. Nancy turned around in the doorway. You don't have to cry. This place doesn't tolerate the weak. Soon, you'll realize it yourself. Soon, 5 girls came into the room. They were about Vanessa's age, but they were different. Are you new? One of them asked. Yes, answered Vanessa. Were yours taken away or did they die? Asked the other. Deprived of what? I don't understand, Vanessa. I see, domestic, said another one. Look, Caddy's at the window. She has parents, but they want to take away her rights. They come over sometimes, bring her candy. So you have no one. I do, but they're in the clouds. They see me, and they live in my heart. Remember your doctor, Vanessa said. The girls laughed. Vanessa looked at them and didn't realize what she had said that was so funny. If you don't give up, you'll be fine. Sushi educators. She's strict but fair, and she doesn't like it when she cries and promises, "You're not me." Trouble? She asked. No, not me lunch, quietly replied Vanessa. Okay, let's run to lunch, said another girl. Vanessa could not remember everyone at once, and all together the girls went to lunch. Vanessa had to pull herself into a new life. It was very hard for her. Children were not always friendly, especially not to a homely girl. Vanessa cried quietly at night. Time passed, but the bitterness and pain never left Vanessa. She knew she had an aunt, Daddy's sister. Mom had no family left. There was no one on Daddy's side either, except for Aunt Camille. Vanessa had seen her a few times and remembered her poorly, but vaguely recalled that she had even come to the hospital and told someone that she couldn't afford an extra mouth. It was only later that Vanessa realized that the extra mouth was her own to visit the orphanage. Vanessa and Camille never came once either. Some of the children were brought goodies. On such days, the children were especially happy because they tried to give candy to everyone in the ward. But time did not cure the pain. But the girls only buried the trauma deeper and deeper. At night, Vanessa still let out tears. Quietly into her pillow. She mourned her fate. That's how the first 3 years passed. One day Nancy called her after class. Vanessa, I know you still cry at night. I know it's hard, but let me help you. We have extracurricular activities. Could you take a class there? That way there's no time for sad thoughts. Okay, Nancy answered Vanessa quietly. She started to attend an art class. There she met Alex. Alex was already 12 years old. He immediately sat down to Vanessa. I haven't seen you before. You're new. Yes, Vanessa answered. I'm new to the club. Where else do you go? Not yet. The teacher said I should go, so I went. Alex and Vanessa became friends. 2 months after they met, 3 older girls about Alex's age came into the girls' room. One of them asked who Vanessa was in the room. Vanessa timidly replied, the older girls asked the others to leave. Vanessa's classmates quickly ran out of the room. 3 older girls stayed in the room, and 1 more stayed by the door in the hallway. This isn't your first year here, is it? With a challenge asked this girl. What did the woman call? A name? Why? What? Because you snapped at me. What do you want with Alex? Alex is mine, so I don't want to see you around him again. I get it. but we're in the same club." Vanessa answered with fear and incomprehension. "Even in a square, if you don't understand. Girls, help!" The girls threw Vanessa on the bed and began to beat her. Vanessa had never been beaten before. She didn't expect this. She shrunk into a lump and covered her head with her hands, stretched her legs to her stomach, and didn't even cry. She understood now. "I get it," Vanessa answered, sobbing and not roaring. "No tolerance for the weak here," Kelly concluded. "Let's go, girls." They left. Vanessa's roommates ran into the room. They helped Vanessa wash up and comforted her. Vanessa wanted to run to the caretaker and tell her everything, to be punished. But the girls stopped her. "They told you I don't tolerate trouble here. But they were the first to attack me, and I did nothing wrong. If you learn, you'll get more," the girl concluded. Then Vanessa learned the first lessons of life in the orphanage. She stopped attending the drawing class, but Alex found her himself. "Why don't you go to drawing? I don't want to go anymore, and I don't want to be friends with you." Vanessa turned around and wanted to run away. "Wait!" Alex stopped her. "Is it Nenka? Is it her?" He pointed at the bruises on Vanessa's arm. "I don't know. Fell off the bed. Leave me alone." 2 days later, Alex found Vanessa again. "She won't come near you again. And if she comes near me, tell me. I'll put her in her place. And in general, if anyone offends me, tell me I don't need anything from you," Vanessa replied. And wanted to leave again. "Wait, let's be friends." Vanessa hesitated, but she realized that one and the other is very bad, and accepted the offer of friendship. Nina really had stayed away from Vanessa ever since. Only occasionally in the common areas of the dining hall or the assembly hall did she cast spiteful glances at Vanessa, and with Alex, on the contrary, they cheerfully considered life. The orphanage had tempered Vanessa's character. She ceased to be malleable, could sharply respond to comments or teasing, but at heart she remained as gentle and vulnerable. And only with Alex she could be real, and he still promised to protect her from everything. Vanessa was 15 when Alex graduated to adulthood. Kelly was the girl who was all over him. How did he not push her away? And they graduated together. Alex was an orphan. He went to technical school, started working in a warehouse. He lived in a dormitory for a while. Then they gave him an apartment. Kelly, unlike Alex, had a mother, albeit disenfranchised, and a share in the apartment. So Kelly went straight home. At home, of course, no one was waiting for her. Her mother had a long history of immoral behavior and abuse. Kelly kept running after Alex and pretending that she needed help or advice. Especially when Alex moved into his new small apartment, Kelly literally attacked him. Often she stayed overnight at the guy's place. But Alex immediately put a condition that she didn't expect anything from him and didn't make plans. Kelly pretended to agree. Alex did not forget to visit his childhood friend Vanessa. Vanessa grew up. She became a beautiful girl with big, sad eyes. And until now, Vanessa sometimes had that dream of the worst day of her life. And that dream left Vanessa for a few days. That day, the director of the orphanage called Vanessa to her. Jenna is the new director of the orphanage. She was appointed after Emily was fired. The children did not know why the old principal was fired. There were rumors that she was caught stealing and offered to leave on her own. Or maybe it was just a rumor. But the new principal, who had been working here for about 5 years, quickly put things in order. There were no more fights in the orphanage. There were fruit for lunch excursions, and the younger ones called the director nothing but Mama Jenna. She was strict, but she loved the children wholeheartedly. Jenna called. Vanessa looked into the principal's office. In the office, a woman sat at the desk across from Jenna. It was hard to tell how old she was, but she was trying to look younger, although the iris. The extra weight certainly didn't help. Yes, Vanessa, come in. Vanessa walked over, sat down at the table, and looked at the woman. Her face seemed remotely familiar. Vanessa, the other woman, was silent, but she clearly felt out of place. Her facial expressions said it all. She was uncomfortable to be here. She was clearly nervous and wanted to leave as soon as possible. Vanessa, do you recognize your aunt? You didn't say hello to her? Of course I said hello. What brother didn't raise you? What's here? The woman quietly said. We spend enough time raising children. Dear Camille, the principal replied softly. But you've never visited your niece in 12 years. She might have forgotten to river flagger. She might have forgotten you. Why blame the child for that? I should have been the only one to visit her. I didn't have time. I have a family of my own, 3 kids. So now I put the case aside and came here. Vanessa, the director turned to the girl again. In 6 months, you'll be leaving our orphanage. You'll have an adult life waiting for you, an independent one. But you were not a round orphan by birth, and you have a place to live. Your aunt brought the keys to the apartment, your apartment. Vanessa, where did you and your parents live? At this phrase, the girls were at heart. Your aunt brought the keys and something else. While it was small, it was too early to give it to you. Here, Jenna handed Vanessa a jewelry box. This is Mom's jewelry box, Vanessa interrupted Jenna. Tears ran down the girl's cheeks. She opened the box and looked through the jewelry. Nothing special, there were inexpensive gold earrings, Mom's wedding ring. Vanessa didn't even remember the jewelry, but the box did. It smelled like home. The home that fate had taken from the girl. Vanessa, do you mind if I keep these things in the safe in my office for now? No, I don't mind, Jenna. That's when Vanessa answered better. Camille, Rick. She said nothing more. With the principal's permission, she left this house. Her mission accomplished. Vanessa, don't be sad. Maybe God took her away from her family. You should have come for 12 years for the first time, huh? And even to give her the keys, supported Vanessa Jenna. I'm not sad about that. I'm just reminiscing. Well, here comes the girl. Go on, I'll keep it all. Vanessa really wanted to tell Alex everything. About the hurt, about the aunt who wouldn't even look at her, her memories, but Alex hadn't been around lately. He must be working, Vanessa thought. Studying was difficult for Alex. She had to work more on the bait of power with her mother, a fun life. And this detrimental life began to drag the girl down, and it was pulling Alex down with it. But to have a good time, you have to make good money. At the warehouse, paid pennies, barely enough to live on. And more, Alex started to chase Kelly away. The day of Vanessa's graduation into adulthood approached. She warmly said goodbye to the girls and to the teachers. Especially warm words and farewells gave the girl the director of Vanessa. Life there is very difficult and ambiguous. Remember, you can always come to me for advice. Thank you for everything, Jenna. At parting, the girl hugged the woman. Alex, of course, couldn't miss his friend's graduation. He waited for her on the porch. Then he walked Vanessa to her house. Alex already at the entrance door told Vanessa, "You can come in with me. I'm scared. But let's go." They went up to the 3rd floor. Vanessa's heart was pumping frantically. The entryway had certainly been renovated over the years, but it was still the one from her childhood. Vanessa left the key in the lock and turned it. Swung the doors open, smelled of dust, and smelled like a net. Vanessa hesitated for a second. A lump came to his throat. Vanessa stepped into the apartment and couldn't hold back the tears. All right, you'll be fine, Alex comforted her. Vanessa separated and walked through the rooms. From the furniture, only her crib was left. Since then, and the kitchen table. The caring aunt had kept her wedding ring, but hadn't saved all the appliances. The look of the apartment was very Tuscan too. Probably renting it out quietly, Vanessa thought. And it was true. The aunt didn't miss the opportunity to make some money. And while Vanessa was living in an institution, she was renting out this apartment. Vanessa sat down on the crib. The girl, of course, wouldn't fit in it. It was a baby bed, but not an infant bed. Another childhood memory that had been taken away from her. An evil fate. Alex stood in the hallway, leaning against Isaac. Vanessa, I'm going to go. I have to go to work. Yes, Alex, thanks for walking me out. Alex ran off. Vanessa, on the other hand, gave vent to her emotions. She cried like a child, but no one came to comfort her. By evening, she got up, washed her face, went to the store, and bought papier and bread. That's it, Vanessa. Childhood is over, she said to herself. Vanessa studied to be a cook, and immediately upon graduation, she got a job from the orphanage in a cafe as a kitchen assistant. Paid little for, always had enough to eat. Sometimes the cafe manager asked her to fill in for the waitresses. Then she could earn a good tip, Alex. And they started to see each other less often. Alex spent his free days, but busy with Vanessa, with Kelly. One day, taking from the mailbox advertising payments, Vanessa found strange notices. She went to the post office. There she was, handed a summons to sign. On the summons was written the address, date, and time of the meeting. Vanessa did not understand anything. On the right day, she excused herself from work and went to the court. She asked the secretary quietly what was going on here, because that there was no one in the courtroom except her and the court representatives. The secretary took the subpoena and said probate case. Are you Hughes, Vanessa? Yes, but what inheritance? At that moment, Benjamin was walking down the court corridor. Camille's middle son, Vanessa's cousin, whom she did not know. I needed to pick up a ruling. Benjamin had gotten mixed up with bad company and was involved in a theft. But the court found him not guilty. The charges were dropped. He's being held as a witness, even though he was guilty too. Passing by the courtroom of the Hughes case, Vanessa Benjamin accidentally heard the full name of the girl and did not pay attention to it. The Donetsk rock made him linger for a moment at the door of that very hall, and the echoes of Hughes's phrases, Vanessa reached him. The inheritance is large from overseas. Coming home, Benjamin waited for his mother to come home from work and asked Mom, "Is your maiden name Hughes?" "What do you care? Have you been to court?" "The punishment on my head," upset Benjamin's mother. "Yes, I was." "Been seen again." "You get in trouble again, Benjamin. You'll never get away with it again." "So, you're in debt for a lawyer. You should at least get a job. You're sitting on my father's neck." Camille continued her tirade. "Mom, stop! Listen to what I found out. That girl! What's her name? Vanessa is your niece?" She came out of the orphanage. "Jesus, what do you care about her?" "I don't owe her anything." "I gave her back the keys to the apartment." "Let her live as she pleases. She's an adult. I'll tell you, wait till I get a word in edgewise." Anyway, I was in court, and they were doing business in another courtroom. And they called Hughes Vanessa. I heard a familiar name, so I stopped at the door of the no building. "Camille, put in a word for you, Camille." "Ladies, man." Anyway, it's an interesting case. She didn't get out in time to go to the door. Yeah, well, that's where she belongs. If they lock up the apartment, they take it away. I'll sell it. I knew nothing good would come out of her. Everyone was shaking her. Not Vanessa. "Well, Mom," shouted Benjamin, "a case about some big foreign inheritance I haven't really heard. But the gist of it is, she's like a sheep bleating that she has no family, especially not in America." More? Where would the inheritance come from? And anyway, I figured she was taking a break to think about it or something. And I was walking home and I was thinking, but she's got family there from somewhere. And if she does, it's our kin too. So Benjamin, Camille is thinking, well, the head cooks. When you have to, you do. Camille ruffled Benjamin's hair. I'd better find out what's going on. And who's the legacy orphanage? And Camille let out a loud gasp, her eyes wide and her hand over her mouth. Sebastian and Camille Hughes have never been friends. Camille is Sebastian's older sister. To the younger Camille, it always seemed that her mother was more fond of Sebastian, and she was the one who served them. This, of course, was an exaggeration. It was just that mother wanted to accustom the children to independence. And if Camille took everything in a flip, then Sebastian, already from the age of 12, tried to work part-time, helping his mother. All the men's work at home were on him. Their father Issa Harpar decided to try his luck, and at the invitation of a friend, went to America. It is worth noting that Rick's character was not easy. He was a man uncompromising and believed that who is not with him, he was against him. But he loved his children tenderly. His wife, his mother, Camille and Sebastian Nancy, was a woman simple but resentful. She refused to go on an invitation to another country, citing the difficulties of the children's studies.
Who needs us there, Rick?
Where you were born, you're born there, Nancy told her husband. But Rick did go. It was hard for him at first, but his faithful friend and namesake Rix helped his friend with everything. One time Rick Hughes, Corey Kwaim, Wirt Hughes called his wife and children together. And it was hard for them here at home, and it would be even harder there. For the second and last time called Rick Nancy when his affairs began to develop. But Nancy refused again. This hurt Rick's ego too much, and he never asked Vanessa to move in again. He helped the kids as much as he could. Nancy accepted the money and saved some of it. Later, she was able to buy the kids an apartment each, but she didn't let the children communicate with their father either. So Nancy raised her children alone, and not without the help of her husband. After the connection with Rick was completely lost, and Sebastian and Camille had heard nothing about him. Nancy, the children's mother, died suddenly, but she had time to raise her children. Camille sat and reminisced about her childhood, about how her father had left. She never heard from her father again. It's not as if he'd somehow found out about them. But if he did, the inheritance could be contested. After all, Camille, is Rick Hughes' own daughter. Who's Vanessa to him? A granddaughter, and it's not even clear who she was born to. Who knows who they are? Here she is, Camille, maiden name Hughes, daughter of her father, Rick. These are her children, siblings, and grandchildren. And who is she? These are the scoundrels of the orphanage. Could she be a worthy heiress to a fortune? Of course not. Go on, take a walk. Mother needs to think? Camille sat down at the table and began to think, so somewhere here, it must be. Somewhere here. Camille Rick, her old notebook. Here it is. I hope you, dearie, didn't change the number, said the woman, and dialed the cherished digits. How did Alex not try to approach Vanessa? The girl kept the guy at a distance, only as a friend, but always ready to comfort his male ego. Kelly was there for him. Kelly dragged Alex to bars and discos. She liked to have fun. Kelly didn't have a permanent job. He had a part-time job. She did not want to study. She thought that youth should not be ruined by boring studies and work. One should live in pleasure. True, pleasure required money, and they were catastrophically short. Like attracts like. I guess that's why Kelly was offered easy money. No legs, Mark said. Casual acquaintance from the club. Just a courier job. Nothing fancy. You pick up groceries and take them to the address. So why the salary? Then the lower it is all of a sudden. Kelly, why would I go dark? That's how I make my own money. Look, you don't want to do it. There's always someone willing. Why don't I want to? I have to think about it. Kelly hesitated. Not for long. Of course, Kelly understood the scheme, but the lust for easy money was beckoning her. Eventually, Kelly agreed. Kelly was picked up at the second address. They found her in possession of illegal substances, of course. Of course, she screamed that it wasn't hers, that she'd been set up. Of course, Mark, who was not the Mark she'd seen in her life, didn't answer 3 times and his number was registered to some grandfather from another area. Kelly was in the detention center. Alex came to see her once. What did you do? How? How did you do it? Screamed at her, the young man. Alex, it wasn't mine. I was delivering groceries. Just groceries, you know. I got dropped off by these guys. She nodded toward the uniformed men. Kelly waited for the investigation. Alex continued to visit her, but Alex was visiting Vanessa more often. Now Kelly didn't interfere, and Alex had time to think about how to win the woman's heart. Was Camille sitting in the kitchen calling Emily? Yes, the other end of the phone answered. It's Camille for you. I have a favor to ask of you. We can meet. I think I remember you. You're the aunt of one of the kids from my former orphanage. Yes, I am. It's a very serious matter. Well, let's go sailing. Shh. Tonight at 1800. Okay, thank you. Thank you. Rick, on Kelly's former orphanage director, was sentenced to 3 years. Considering her young age, Alex told Kelly Vanessa. Vanessa certainly expressed sympathy, but she couldn't understand why such a move was necessary. Yeah, sure, going to work every day is a lot harder, but breaking the law. Vanessa didn't understand that. And Vanessa also realized that she and Alex also pursued different goals. Alex dropped out of school. He rarely showed up at work. He was always looking for something new and monetary. Vanessa couldn't give the guy a turn, but started to distance herself from him. And the girl had not much free time. At the appointed hour in the appointed place met 2 women who had to discuss a matter concerning a young girl. Emily, Camille began the difficult conversation. You have been the director of the orphanage for a long time, and you, more than anyone else, know everything about these dries. For you. I want to ask you if anyone visited Vanessa Hughes during her time there. If there was any letters or packages, maybe even from overseas. Vanessa, I remember well, kind of a domestic princess. The guy's lonely, ridiculously thankful for it. He was celebrated. By the way, that incident went in the piggy bank of claims I was fired. Well, at least I was allowed to resign, not for non-compliance. Vanessa. No, definitely no one visited her. No packages, no toys, no candy the whole time. It's like she's an orphan. Not a single living soul was interested in her. Huh? That's for sure. Why such a question, and why is it so important? Said Emily. You see, the thing is, we happen to know that Vanessa is entitled to some kind of inheritance. She's already been to court. It's not a small inheritance by the looks of it, but it's probably my father's estate, Vanessa's estate, my grandfather's estate. But in that case, we want our share too. And this dam to us herself said nothing to us her own, and will take. But also this quietly teach her a lesson. So that's my question. Can you help us prove that Vanessa is an unworthy heiress, or that she needs custody? That's an interesting offer, but every case costs money. Emily, as far as I know, it's supposed to be pretty good. I'm not going to hurt you. We just need to get our act together. Well, let's give it a shot. I'll pull up some old records, get some information, and then you and I will meet to discuss it. Alex once again asked Vanessa to visit. Her apartment was cozy and clean. Vanessa had taken some furniture and necessary appliances in installments. She also always had good food. Alex didn't always care that groceries cost money too. The orphanage had kept him from analyzing from the beginning. He was used to coming to the canteen, and it was set. Where did the food come from, and who prepared it there? He didn't even think about it. That night, Alex decided to get active. I wasn't given a deadline. He didn't have a woman anymore. After dinner, Alex suggested we watch TV. He sat close to Vanessa, and at some point, he started hitting on the girl. Vanessa at first jokingly pushed back, but Alex was assertive. He started to get turned on by the behavior, not to a T, but the girl abruptly accepted from him and firmly said, "Alex, you'd better leave." Alex, evaluating, looked at Vanessa, stirred with a moment. "All right," he said, oblivious, and left. He was pissed. What else does this girl want? Waiting for a prince? Who needs her? An orphanage girl like himself. Alex was angry with Vanessa. But nevertheless, he was not going to give up his goal. It was time for the second session of the court on Vanessa's inheritance. During this time, she reviewed old photos, some documents. She did not know anything about her grandfather, Rick, but decided to enter the inheritance rights. After all, no one will help her in this life. And it's very, very hard to do it alone. Vanessa was surprised when she ran into Camille in the hallway. "Aunt Camille! Hello?" Vanessa said hello. "I'm not your Aunt Camille." "Camille!" the woman said condescendingly. "What are you, Vanessa, scheming? What's behind our backs? Aren't you ashamed of deceiving your family? I haven't lied to anyone." "What are you talking about? Why are you here now? To get your hands on someone else's goods?" "No," the girl laughed. "I was summoned, so I came, huh?" She came to look at her, tail wagging. "You'll never see my dead father's fortune. You better say no." Vanessa stepped aside. She didn't want to continue this fight. Camille Rick had gotten involved on all fronts. She'd hired a lawyer to contest the inheritance. Emily was also doing her part. This time, too, the hearing was unsuccessful. After accepting the documents from the lawyer, the court scheduled the next session due to the appearance of new heirs. Alex walked from his part-time job angry. He was underpaid again. The house was a mess. Vanessa wouldn't let him in. What was he supposed to do? He already approached the entrance, as suddenly a familiar voice called him, "Alex." Alex stopped, turned Emily himself. "Alex, I need to talk to you," the woman replied. "Well, come on in." "Only, unfortunately, I have nothing to treat you with." "That's okay, Alex. I'm with hotels," replied the former director of the orphanage. They walked into the guy's modest apartment. Emily began to pull out of the bag some products: sausage, cheese, tea, candy. It's harder for men to adapt to the household. You are. 3 years, and you still haven't learned how to run a household. "Oh, Alex, I'm a man. A woman should be the boss." "My business is to work," said Alex, and thought of Vanessa, and started to get angry with her again. "So who's your woman?" "Alex!" I remember the passion for you. The girls fought, the woman laughed." "No, they didn't." Alex was embarrassed. That woman always thought about herself. But they played the game, Vanessa. Emily, using all her communication skills, brought them out. Assigning Alex everything. That's enough information for a whole dossier. And Emily and Alex began to slowly build up a hatred for Vanessa. Vanessa needed enemies, and Emily provides them for this girl. Soon. Camille met once again. "How's it going? How's the case going?" the former principal of the orphanage asked. The court accepted the fact that there may be more heirs, but that's not enough for us. As I understand it, there's a fortune in there. We can't let it go. "What do you have?" Camille asked. Good. I've got news too. At the orphanage, Vanessa got mixed up with a guy a few years older than her. Alex won't get any use out of him, of course. I've got an eye, a tonometer, but he loves Vanessa, and he's pissed at her. Alex also had a girl from the orphanage who tailed him. He and Nenka graduated the same year and were kind of together. Nenka got locked up for drugs. I should put that in Vanessa's character reference and put it up. So the three of them were friends, and friends of friends went to some hot spots.
And they all went down the slope together, just for fucking up the country. And these guys got away with it.
I'll leave a character reference on Vanessa. I'll write everything properly. She didn't study hard. It's no wonder that with tangled up on the outside, with that kind of company. Vanessa had strange feelings about the trial. Her aunt's words hurt her. She'd never cheated anyone. It was never in her mind. But it was an inheritance. Vanessa continued to live, work, and study. Alex disappeared from the horizon for a while and did not annoy the girl. But Alex met Emily again, and she gradually turned Alex against Vanessa. Well, Vanessa was all over you in the orphanage, and now she doesn't need you, my boy. I saw that breed right away. What breed is that, Emily? Vanessa. She's just different. The State House didn't spoil her. It wasn't the State House that spoiled Alex. Why didn't she push you away before? As soon as the inheritance loomed, she was all tails. What inheritance, huh? What are you talking about? She doesn't have any. Alex waved it away. Big. Alex, Auntie, I saw her. Oh, poor woman. Vanessa's taking them, that's for sure. The face of an angel, the soul, her soul is poisoned and embittered. Where's the inheritance coming from? Alex was starting to believe this woman. Everything seemed to add up. Maybe Vanessa did confess. Her grandfather left it to her when he lived abroad. And Vanessa decided to rob her aunt. After all, she's the heiress. So think, Alex. Who did you mess with? Who did you protect? At these words, satisfied with herself, Emily left. Now Alex will definitely be on their side. The next day, Alex went to Vanessa's. He wanted to check if the principal was missing or not. Hi, can I come in? Asked Alex. Since the day Vanessa chased Alex away, they didn't see each other again. The girl retreated in the course. Vanessa, listen, I wanted to tell you. You won't understand me until payday. I'd love to, but I don't have one. Waitress ain't putting in no paychecks right now. I myself already live on the last one. Oh, well, Alex thought, but at least he gave me tea. Sure, let's go to the kitchen. Oh. Vanessa felt that something was wrong with Alex. But what was it? The conversation was pouring inside Alex. Everything was boiling. Have some tea. Alex made another attempt to get Vanessa in the hallway. He pinned her against the wall and tried to undress her. Vanessa screamed, hitting him. Alex hesitated. The girl pushed the guys back, shoved him away. You know, Alex, you don't come anymore, said to him, closing the door. Clearly, Emily was right. Vanessa froze for a second. Who is Emily, and what is the right of our former principal? She really sees through people, the heiress confessed. Alex angrily slammed the door so that Vanessa shuddered and ran away. Going outside, he immediately dialed Emily. You were right, Vanessa, she is. Alex couldn't find the words. I know, Alex, but you're not mad. It happens. You listen to me. We have to teach her a lesson, but legally. Vanessa came to the next session in a broken state of mind. And now she was all alone. She had no family or friends, no money for a lawyer either. Why did she get that inheritance? She'd have been better off living quietly, and nobody would have touched her. She didn't know how to fight and didn't want to. For this meeting, Camille was prepared on all fronts. She decided to firmly recognize Vanessa, unworthy and in need of guardianship. And who is the best guardian, if not your own aunt? Vanessa was very surprised when Emily entered the room as a witness. What on earth was she doing? Why did Alex mention her then? What is going to happen? The girl was worried, But what Emily said shocked her to the point that the ground swam from under her feet. "I, Emily, am the director of the orphanage where Vanessa was raised," the woman introduced herself to the court. "What can I say?" "Oh, Vanessa, we put our souls into children, but it happens that children are stale and rotten from the inside, and all the efforts go in vain." Vanessa, despite the fact that she was brought up until the age of 6 in a family, turned out to be such a person. Though, the woman reasoned, maybe it came from the family. Camille sat back, pleased with herself. She could almost physically feel the money flowing into her hands. Emily, meanwhile, continued. Vanessa did not want to study, clashed with other children, even fought with the girls. Yes, not all children graduate worthy, but in all of this we put in like good. The former principal said loud words. Later, Vanessa started to run away from the orphanage. We found her and brought her back, had conversations. But it was all lies. Vanessa couldn't take it anymore. I didn't fight. I was beaten up once, but no one reacted. But Vanessa was admonished to speak in her turn and not interrupt the witness. Vanessa was dizzy from the whole thing, but what happened next just got this girl to the end. So not only Vanessa, but some of the guys went downhill too. Like Kelly. She and Vanessa were friends after the orphanage, and now Kelly, sorry for the girl, got involved with drugs, and now she's been convicted. Where's the guarantee that Vanessa isn't doing it? She just hasn't gotten caught yet. But it's a lie. It's all lies. Kelly and I were never friends. She's the one who beat me up. Then, at the orphanage, Vanessa was reprimanded again. Vanessa turned to her Emily. You'd better realize your mistakes. Realize it's for the best for everyone. You can hardly live on your own. Girl, I wish you nothing but the best. And so does your aunt. I consider it your honor. As an educator with a huge experience that Vanessa needs a guardian and a better candidate than Camille's own aunt, Rick could not find. Camille came to the orphanage many times, wanted to visit Vanessa, but the girl did not make contact. The strength of this saintly woman has dried up. But even after Vanessa was released from our institution, the aunt did not leave Vanessa. She brought Vanessa to the apartment she had kept for her niece, but Vanessa immediately sold off all the nice furniture and appliances, and now lives in a half-empty apartment. Where was I hoping to go? All the money's been squandered. Missed out or worse. No. The girl needs to be saved at the bottom. Just needs to be patronized. Vanessa cried quietly. But that wasn't all. Camille's next witness was Alex. He waltzily entered the meeting room and confirmed all the words of the former principal that Vanessa was friends with Kelly. That Kelly had gone downhill, that Vanessa was spinning the other guys for her own purposes, that Vanessa was naive and helpless and could make the wrong decision. Vanessa couldn't take it anymore. She got up and ran out of the meeting room, caught a cab, and came home. She fell on the bed without strength and cried bitterly. The girl did not know that the hearing had been postponed again. The court had to sort everything out. In addition, there was some confusion with the personal data of the deceased. After coming to her senses the next day, Vanessa became firmly convinced that she would refuse the inheritance. She didn't want any riches at that price. She wanted to go far away and forget everything, so that no one would ever touch her again. Such betrayal and meanness she hadn't expected. Over the next month, Vanessa passed her technical school exams, quit whatever she decided to do. From work she quit and went to the nearby villages. There she rented a house in advance, paid for it for 3 months in advance, and even got a job at the local cafe cooking. It was spring, and Vanessa was so eager to find peace of mind away from all that filth. Within the first week, the girl had gotten a little used to village life. She was well liked at work. She was diligent. Her cooking cafe was frequented by a young man named Max. At first, he and Vanessa just exchanged glances. Then Max approached the girl. They got to know each other. Max told her that he lived here in the village alone, but that he was often in the city. He often visits his parents there, but his soul belongs to the village. Vanessa was in no hurry to get into a relationship. She had no adult experience yet, but Max had melted her heart. Vanessa didn't bother to tell her whole story. She told only that she was left without parents early. She didn't like it in the city and decided to try living here. Max wasn't pushy. Vanessa was comfortable and warm with him. At this time, another court session was held, which confused all parties. The main claimant to the inheritance, Vanessa, did not show up. But again, there was a delay, which could not be solved by the lawyer, Camille Rick. No decision was made. Vanessa was never recognized as an unworthy heiress or in need of guardianship. But what's worse than Camille? Rick has yet to be recognized as being involved in this inheritance at all. Camille was torn and metal. She had high hopes as far back as last night's hearing. She had to pay for a lawyer every session. But she was also being pushed around by Emily. She was demanding payment for her services. The mercurial former principal wouldn't just help in this case. She didn't care about a single person unless the case smelled of money. This vicious circle was tightening around Camille worse and worse. But there was nowhere to retreat. It was only to their advantage that Vanessa suddenly disappeared. But the court adjourned again. At that time, Max and Vanessa began a real romance. The girl threw away her doubts and trusted this guy. Every day he met her from work. They spent weekends and evenings together. Max said that his parents are now away on a business trip abroad. They would probably return in the fall, and then he would introduce them. Vanessa was not sure that his parents would accept her orphanage as their girlfriend. But Max assured Vanessa that his parents respected and would definitely accept his choice. Vanessa believed the guy, and after a month, their relationship moved to a new level. The girl trusted Max, as she could not trust Alex. Still, these two guys were strikingly different from each other. Maybe it was the conditions in which the guys grew up. Maybe it was just personality, but Vanessa was sure. At that time, in a foreign country far away, a young man was gathering the last documents. His lawyer had laid everything out so that Alex could clearly justify everything. Alex had already learned a lot about the case. He had to shed light on the inheritance case and finally dot all the I's. Max suggested that Vanessa move in with him. It was easier that way. They could spend a lot of time together, but Vanessa refused. The house was paid for
by the end of the summer, and she was already used to it. Let's wait until the fall, just as soon as we meet the parents, and then we'll start living together for good. I agree, Vanessa. You're right. You're a wise girl, despite your young age. After another month of relationship, Vanessa felt something wrong. In the mornings, she felt nauseous. It became difficult to work. Odors made her uncomfortable.
Vanessa started looking for a solution on the internet and was stunned. After work, she went to the pharmacy and bought a test. The next morning, the girl took a test and looked at the two stripes for a long time. She couldn't understand her feelings. A baby, would she be able to now? Pulling the baby? And what would Max say? They'd only been dating for a little while. But what to do if it had already happened? Gathering her strength, Vanessa went to work. Max went to the city and finished the apartment of his parents promised to be in a few days. They called each other in the evenings, but Vanessa decided to tell such news in person when they met. It was hard at work, but the girl tried. Despite her excellent relationship with Max, she couldn't put her worries on him. It was necessary to earn a living. As promised, Max arrived a few days later. In the evening, they met up with Vanessa. Vanessa wanted to take a little walk in nature. The young people went down to the lake. The evening brought cool, comfortable weather. Max and Vanessa chatted about something pleasant, light. Finally, the girl chose a moment. Max, I have something to tell you. Wow. Well, Vanessa, I'm listening to you. Max, I'm pregnant. There was a pause. I was late and I took a test 3 days ago. Why didn't you tell Vanessa the news right away? I don't even know what to say. Max was dumbfounded. He liked it. Vanessa liked it. Was comfortable with it. Even interested in it. But the kid Max didn't even know if he loved her. I didn't either. I don't know what to do. Vanessa looked away from Vanessa. How? Do what? The baby's already here. You and I aren't little. I think we can handle it, Max smiled. But Vanessa smiled back uncertainly. She sensed a falseness in Max's words and actions. Or maybe he was just scared and things would work out. They walked around some more. Then Max walked Vanessa home and went to his room. He had a lot to think about. Max was in no hurry to tell his parents about Vanessa. He hadn't fully decided if he wanted to or not. He thought about the situation until late in the evening and decided that he couldn't leave her. A child is a shared responsibility. Together they'll manage. In the morning, Max picked Vanessa up early to see her off to work. Vanessa was happy to see him. It was like a weight had been lifted off her shoulders. He hadn't quit. He had come, which meant they would be together. How tired she was of the bad things. She wanted to believe in the good things. Vanessa decided to register in the city. She wanted to go on a business trip or to visit her apartment. Besides, in the fall she had to go back to school anyway. How and where to live, she and Max hadn't thought yet. Max suggested moving back into his house. Vanessa agreed. She called the landlady, who went, but returned some of the money. Life together with Max was a little different from what it had been before. He turned out to be a cranky guy, maybe even spoiled. But Vanessa wrote it off to the fact that he grew up at home with his parents, and that was normal. For the next month, Max traveled to the city. Vanessa worked during the week. What Max did during the day, the girl didn't know. He told the girl that he worked part-time on the internet. The girl didn't ask any unnecessary questions. Every weekend, Max went to the city. But here's to our... He did not invite Vanessa with him. Soon, Vanessa began to notice that Max returned weighed down, nervous. She tried to call the guy for a conversation, but he only waved it off. Time passed, but the situation did not change. One day, Vanessa brought up the status of their relationship. Max wondered. Vanessa. My parents are back. I want you to meet them. But my mom is a firm woman, so I want you to be ready. Ready for what, Max? But I don't know how to explain to Vanessa. I honestly don't know how she's going to react to the news that you're pregnant. But you're an adult. What do you mean Max will react? All right, it's settled. We're going on Friday. The week went by fast, and here comes Max Vanessa. The guys were about to go to his parents' house. Max was nervous. Vanessa tried to keep her cool. It wouldn't be any worse than what she'd already experienced. Max's mom greeted the couple rather coldly. Her father wasn't home. He had stayed to work for a while longer. They had a family business, and now they wanted to go international. The presence of a supervisor was required. Mom, or hi. Huh. Max kissed his mom on the cheek. Hello, Evelyn, Vanessa greeted Max's mom. Hello. I'm sorry, did I forget your name? Notice the girl. Evelyn, Vanessa's mom. The girl's name is Vanessa. Sorry again. Max changed girls so often that I stopped remembering their names. Vanessa looked at Max. Mom makes that joke. Vanessa during Vanessa felt like a blank slate. During this introduction, she felt like Evelyn was overprotective of her son. The questions Vanessa asked Evelyn did not ask. Even a word to say about the girl was not much of an opportunity. There was a distinct feeling that Evelyn had told the truth about Max's many girlfriends. And she, Vanessa, was one of them. Here today, gone tomorrow, never to return. There was no talk of legitimizing the relationship and her pregnancy. Vanessa was disappointed. After 2 hours of this strange visit, Max offered to walk Vanessa to the bus, and his mom asked to stay. The girl refused to see her off, referring to the fact that she would go to her city. It was necessary to check the apartment.
And she left alone. And when that door closed behind Vanessa, the mother looked at her son sternly and asked, "What was it?" "Son, I don't recognize you. Where did you dig this up?" "In Mom's village." She came to take a break from her troubles. She worked there in the local cafe as a cook. A cook. Evelyn laughed. "Max, you never cease to amaze me." "Mom, come on, she's nice." "Really, she's naive." Max justified in a kind way. "All right, Max, why did you bring that good one here?"
"We've been hit better than you. I know you. You'll lose and leave. Besides, you only come to the Dhaka for the summer. I don't believe that country life will suck you in. No, of course not." What's there to do? But Mom, there is one thing. Evelyn tensed up. "What's that?" "I got her pregnant," said Max. "Are you crazy? What did you just say? Say it was a joke. You wanted an orphan, a village cook?" "No, this is surreal. Max, please tell me this is a joke." "Not a joke? Mom, how can I leave her now?" "Max, are you crazy? What the hell are you thinking? Have you forgotten that you're going to your father's in the fall to learn the basics of business management? Or have you decided to become a country boy and run a farm, plow a vegetable garden?" "Max, I don't know what you're thinking," Evelyn screamed. "Mom, I don't know," Max replied. "It's not your first time. We're Casanova. Her number's on the blacklist at the cottage. She's been to our place, I take it. Well, she moved there. We lived in Magotrao. We lived together for 2 months. No, you're definitely crazy. It's the idleness of it all. I'm calling my father tomorrow and getting him to take care of it. You fly to him and start working. And don't forget your studies. Your supervisor is already embarrassed to call me and complain about you." "Mom, the baby?" shyly specified Max. She is a one-bolt woman and will solve this problem herself. Something tells me that this role of innocent sheep is just an image. Understand, son, the orphan is difficult in this life. She's grabbing every opportunity, but not at our expense. She'll make it in the world, not at our expense, Evelyn concluded. Vanessa, meanwhile, arrived at her apartment. She took a shower and put the tea on. Sitting at the table, she pondered why life was so unfair to her. And Max's behavior, he hadn't even escorted her out. Didn't say when he would return to the dacha. And she didn't have the keys to his dacha. There were some things left behind. No, he's not that mean. He'll convince his mother. But it's just that it's all unexpected, Vanessa persuaded herself. At that moment, the doorbell rang. The letter carrier brought another summons to the court. The girl signed, closed the door, looked at the summons. After 2 weeks, she threw the summons on the floor under her feet and returned to the kitchen. The mug of tea stood on the table untouched. The accumulated feelings made Vanessa cry. Would there be an end to this? How difficult it was. No, I don't want anything else. I just want to live in peace. I'll give up my inheritance. Let him take it. Let him divide it. Just leave me alone. Just leave me alone. Tears rolled down her face. The girls dripped into a cup of tea. 4 days passed. Max hadn't called. Vanessa thought he had already left for the village and was waiting for her there. Sometimes there was no reception there. Surkar set up the internet via satellite. Vanessa dialed Max's number again, but he was still unavailable. The girl decided to pack up and go by herself. The bus was leaving the station in Soto to Soyu. Vanessa ate, took some things, and went towards the bus station. Having found the necessary bus, the girl settled down at the window. At that time, Max was working his tail off on his studies. He was studying remotely at a business institute. Soon he was to leave for his father abroad. Vanessa arrived in the village once again, dialed Max, still unavailable. The girl reached Max's house, pulled the gate handle, closed, rang the bell. Silence. No one came out. Vanessa hesitated. Max's neighbor came outside. The girl didn't know the neighbors. They hadn't had to cross paths before. "Are you Vanessa?" the pretty woman asked. "Yes, hello," Vanessa said. "Have you seen him?" "Max didn't come." "We had to." The girl took a drag. After all, they really hadn't agreed on anything after that stormy encounter with her mother. Vanessa, Max seemed to be gone for a long time. Their driver came by. "They asked me to give you your things." The woman felt sorry for the girl. Another cheated girl of this city major. "How did you get away?" She felt dizzy. Her eyes went black. Vanessa blacked out. Vanessa woke up in the woman's house. Her husband helped her into the house and brought her to her senses. "Why are you like this, sweetheart?" The woman was worried. "How are you feeling?" "You said yes, Vanessa. He's gone. Didn't you realize who he was? But what about the baby? Are you pregnant? What a mess. Let me walk you to the paramedic station." A woman. Her name was Tatiana. Together with her husband Fyodor, escorted Vanessa to the paramedic station. The paramedic took Vanessa in, sat her down on the couch. "What should I do with you?" "Are you pregnant?" "Yes," Vanessa answered. The girl was as pale as a concrete wall. "I have a pulling in my lower abdomen," she added in a low voice. "Oh, what a trouble! Lie down on the couch. There are wards here." "No, I've called the city. I'll call an ambulance." "There's nothing I can do for you here, my daughter." At that time, a plane landed at Moscow International Airport. In business class was a young man named Alex. He still had to change planes, go to the hotel, and look for a girl. However, he knew where to look for the girl. But life is not always so clear-cut. The ambulance arrived at 03 Durwire. At that time, Vanessa started bleeding. The ambulance doctors put the girl on an IV and took her to the city to the hospital. Max never called and did not know about the trouble that had befallen her. He chose his studies, the good life. Evelyn, as always, was right. Vanessa wasn't right for them. Vanessa was lying in her room, staring blankly at the ceiling. The doctor came in and told her that she had miscarried. The ambulance took a very long time to arrive, and there was no chance, unfortunately. "We did everything we could to make sure that you still have a chance to have a baby at a later date. But now, you need time, and rest. While you run here under observation, do you have any relatives to whom we could inform that you are here?" "No," Vanessa replied indifferently. "I have no one. No one." 2 days later, Vanessa received a call from an unknown number. The girl immediately thought that Max was calling. Of course, who else would it be? Evelyn must have locked him out of the house. And he's looking for her? He's looking for her because he loves her and misses her against all odds. "Hello, Max, is that you?" Vanessa shouted into the phone. "Hello!" A man's voice answered with a noticeable accent. "It's not Max. Are you Hughes, Vanessa?" "Yes, I am." "Who are you?" Vanessa's mood immediately sank. He never called. Max also turned out to be a scoundrel and a coward who cannot live with his own mind and hides behind his Is mich Mama's skirt? Vanessa. My name is Alex, or just Alex. Vanessa's interlocutor answered with the same accent. Vanessa, I need to see where I can find you urgently. You are not at home. At work, they don't know where you are either. The matter is very urgent. I don't want to see anyone, and I don't want to know anything, the girl replied. I've had enough of important and unimportant things. Vanessa, I'm sorry. Did something happen to you? I flew in yesterday to help you. Can you please tell me where I can find you? Vanessa didn't answer anything. She just cried. She was very tired of betrayal, injustice, and lies. Too many lies she had met in her life. She couldn't take any more. At her crying, a nurse came running in. The phone in talk mode lay on the nightstand. Vanessa cried and shuddered. The nurse injected her with a sedative and gently picked up the phone. Hello? She spoke into the receiver. Patient Hughes won't be able to talk to you for a while. I've sedated her. Hold on. Please, please, Alex begged. Yes? Please tell me where Vanessa is and what's wrong with her. She's at the hospital. The nurse gave me the address. What happened to her? Why is she in the hospital? Well, I can't tell you that. You're related to Hughes. She said she has no family. I can't tell everyone why she's here. Okay, I got it. I'll be there. When can I visit her? The nurse told me visiting hours and how to find the building. Alex thanked her and started packing. He took a quick shower at the hotel, found the nearest store, bought fruit, sweets, went to a flower store, called a cab, and drove to the hospital. Vanessa was still lying there with an indifferent look. A nurse came in to see her. Hughes is here to see you? I told you I don't have any relatives. I don't want to see anyone. And Vanessa turned her back to the wall. Alex came into the room. Forgive me, but I'm going to disturb your peace. Alex put the bag of goodies on the nightstand. He presented the nurse with a cake and asked her to bring a vase for a gorgeous bouquet. The bouquet also took its place on the nightstand. Vanessa turned and looked at Alex. There was a pause. Who are you? What do you want? I'm sorry, Vanessa. I've been calling you. You and I need to talk. I know the trouble you're in. Your relatives have gotten you into a messy business and to smear you, but all their plans are going to fail. Are you here to talk about the inheritance too? I don't want anything. I'll give up everything. Take it and divide it.
But leave me alone. No, you don't understand. I'm on the other side of the barricade. I'm in the same boat as you. Please, you listen to me. Please. This is very important. It was my grandfather's last will, and I dare not betray him. Vanessa looked at Alex suspiciously, but gave him a chance to explain. Their conversation lasted for a long time. The girl cried, telling everything that had happened, how she had been slandered, how her aunt had betrayed her twice, though there was nothing to it. It was how Alex had betrayed her, and how Max had cowardly disappeared. Alex listened and clenched his fists from time to time.
He felt very sorry for this girl, against whom the whole world seemed to rally. Then Alex started to speak. Vanessa listened attentively with frowning eyebrows. It was not an easy story. The girl believed Alex. At the end of the conversation, they agreed that in 2 days, Alex would meet her, walk her home, and in a week they would go to court together. During this time, Alex's lawyer hustled and prepared all the documents. All the remaining days, Alex was close to Vanessa, did not let her lose heart, and made sure that no one dared to approach this girl anymore. On the eve of the day of his meeting, she had already come to her senses. Alex gave her confidence, and then the guy dared to say, Vanessa, we have such facts on our hands it's a bomb, but you have to impress everyone from the doorstep. Go to the beauty salon, do your hair and makeup, I'll help you pick out a suit. They'll all have to be still in the hallway, because all their lines of inheritance claims will crumble like a house of cards. Alex said it with such passion that he infected Vanessa with it. For the first time in a while, Vanessa laughed. She agreed to Alex's proposal. On the eve of the meeting, Alex called the lawyer. He asked if he could spin another feint in the case, with Vanessa's consent, of course. That night they spent in the same apartment, but not as a couple, but as companions. After the conversation with the lawyer, Alex turned to Vanessa. Vanessa. This is a public hearing, but the case is very, very interesting, and if you allow me, I could invite the press. Vanessa thought for a moment. During these days with Alex, she had gained confidence in herself. Alex energized her with his energy. It would be a bombshell for everyone. I agree. The day came. The meeting. It was to be the last meeting. Tamil had already lost her hands. She became very nervous and often complained of headaches. Emily couldn't stop reminding her of that payment for helping to sink Vanessa. And today, finally, Camille was to become the guardian of her neglected niece and gain access to the entire estate. There were people gathered in the hallway. To her surprise, Emily saw the new director of the orphanage, Jenna, the same one who had taken Emily's place, and whom the children called Jenna's mom. Vanessa greeted Jenna warmly and gave her a hug. The girl wanted to cry, but kept herself in control. Today she would not give slack to her enemies. Emily was very surprised by Jenna's visit to the court. She nodded, her head waiting for the invitation to the hall, pressing her lips together. Alex didn't show up for the hearing. Emily could not find him at his place of residence, and soon she heard rumors that Alex was also under investigation. But to go after him, the woman thought. Basically, Alex was no longer needed here. The press began to gather in the hall. Alex had invited only a few journalists from the local city and some from the capital. Vanessa had given her consent, and Alex wanted the case to be publicized. Camille and Emily could not understand what all the fuss was about. They were getting visibly nervous. Just before the hearing, Alex's lawyer, Vanessa, came in as well. The trial began. First, although it was possible not to do so, the lawyer Vanessa invited Jenna to speak. Jenna is a woman calm, thoroughly told Vanessa. She didn't know Vanessa until she was 13 because Emily was the principal then, but knew the girl and was involved in Vanessa's life. From the age of 13 until graduation, the judge listened attentively. Jenna clarified some points because the characteristic of Vanessa from this principal was directly opposite to the characteristic given by Emily. Then Jenna told the court why Emily left the post of director, revealed the facts of misuse of the budget of the orphanage, bad treatment of children, and many other things. Emily kept nodding from her seat and shouting, "It's all lies. You can't prove anything." And in the end, the judge had to remove Emily from the courtroom. Also invited to Vanessa's defense were employees from the Dorito Genma Kauerbarmeister Cafe, where she worked as a teacher, and from her technical school. Everyone gave Vanessa nothing but the best characterizations, but it was just a light trick on the part of Vanessa and Jenna. Everyone else had been warned about it. What happened next shocked everyone. Vanessa's lawyer was called in to speak to Alex. He was to shed light on all the inconsistencies of this strange case. Rick Hughes is the grandfather and father of her father and her Aunt Camille. Rick had gone to live in America. He wanted to make a fortune there. His wife and children stayed in Russia. I don't know what their personal relationship was. It's probably a family matter, and it's not for us to discuss it now. I want to talk about something else. Rick Hughes was best friends with Rick, my own grandfather. That's the irony of it. The same name with similar last names. They started a business together first. The business took off, albeit not right away. Hugh's Rick missed his family very much. He hired people who kept track and sent him regular reports on the lives of his children after his grandchildren. But at one point, Hughes wanted to grow the business in a different scenario. My grandfather Bitchkoff disagreed. Then they divided the capital, and each went his own way. But they kept their warm friendship. I myself remember Hughes as a tough-looking man, but vulnerable and resentful at heart. His business failed after another wave of crisis. He lost everything he had spent most of his life building. At the same time, he learned of the accident that took the lives of his son and his wife, Vanessa's parents, and learned that his own daughter, Camille, had turned her back on poor orphan Vanessa. At that moment, he became ill. His condition was worsening day by day. I personally was just a kid and visited with my grandfather at the clinic. And Rick Hughes tearfully asked my grandfather not to abandon this girl, to help her in any way he could. And my grandfather gave his friend his word of honor. Rick Hughes died, and my grandfather kept his word. He continued to follow Vanessa's fate. When my grandfather also began to pass away, he called me and our family lawyer, who is now here representing our interests, and drew up a will whereby half of my grandfather's estate was to go to Vanessa Hughes, half to me, a native grandchild. When I turned 18 years old, the estate was probated, but I soon found out there were some problems. Probably the similar surnames and the difficulty of translation. That Vanessa's relatives are jumping on the inheritance, but they have nothing to do with this inheritance. We also see direct falsification and manipulation on the part of Camille Rick, who with the help of dishonest people tried to blacken the name of Vanessa. That is why we invited our own witnesses. Vanessa's honest name is no less important than the inheritance itself. Everyone present listened to Alex's monologue with bated breath. Journalists had already seen the news on the front pages of the newspapers and in loud sensations on television. Camille's lawyer only waved his hands. I did the best I could. I will send the invoice for my services tomorrow. Camille clutched at her heart. Hughes Vanessa's honorable name had been restored. Other claims of unworthiness, needing guardianship, were dismissed. There could be no other claimants to the inheritance except Vanessa and Alex. After the verdict, the journalists applauded. Vanessa sighed embarrassed, but already confident, Vanessa walked out of the courthouse with her head held proudly high under the arm of Alex. Camille Rick. She walked out confused right on the porch of the building. She got sick. They called an ambulance and took her to the hospital. The next day, all the local newspapers were blazing with loud headlines, and the poor orphan, who was going to be disinherited by her clever relatives, the journalists, did the right thing. The news traveled both online and on television. 2 days later, Vanessa got a call from Max. Vanessa, my sunshine. Hi, how I missed you. Tightened his sweeter song, the guy. What did you want? Vanessa, are you offended? I understand. Yeah, you're right. I've been missing you. You probably thought I abandoned you, but I didn't. My mother locked me out of the house and cut off all means of communication. But I ran away for you so we could all live together. You and me and our baby. At that sentence, Vanessa flipped. She became disgusted with the very sound of Max's voice. But one last look into that coward's eyes, and why not? Of course, Max found out about the whole affair. On the eve of the call in the evening, Evelyn called her son, and pointing to the television, asked if that poor Sorotan's ear was his. With their mouths open, mother and son listened to the news. Max didn't miss this time. Come on, turn around. You're dumping all this baby on me, you can't miss it. Mom, I don't want her. We're listening again, you fool. Call me tomorrow. And obeying. Max listened to his mother and decided that maybe Vanessa wasn't so bad. Vanessa, can you hear me? Let's meet. I really missed you. No, Max, we won't. But Evelyn forced Max to find Vanessa. He waited for her in the driveway of her house. But it was a different girl, stylishly dressed, with her head held high. She stepped out of the expensive car with a confident gait. Max noticed Vanessa from afar and picked up on the changes that had dawned on her. Max called out to her. Vanessa looked back. She recognized the guy, of course, but just walked past without saying a word. Camille was in the hospital. Her condition was very bad. A week later, she called her niece and tearfully apologized. God has punished me for all the evil I have done. The doctor said it was a stroke. Even though they managed to get me to the hospital, I'll never walk again. I'm sorry, girl, if you can. Vanessa told Alex about it, and she felt very sorry for her aunt. In spite of everything, Alex, understand, they live on their aniendo. Eri color, as, Iowa, Krewer. Her own, barely making ends meet. And now Auntie won't be able to work. They need help. It's up to you, Vanessa. Vanessa thought about it and found an agency that provides qualified caregivers with a medical degree. She paid for a caregiver for a year in advance for her aunt. Vanessa thanked Jenna too, but the woman didn't want to take anything for herself, so Vanessa made a large charitable donation to the orphanage. Alex didn't keep the girl here any longer. She was all ears that she had to go. What about school? I wanted to graduate, and I love working at the cafe so much. Vanessa, with your condition, can you graduate from a better school? I don't know. You'll learn a language. And Vanessa made up her mind. She and Alex were leaving this town together. The city that for 6 years had tested her from all sides. The city that had hardened her character. In America, Vanessa, as Alex advised, immediately began to learn the language. She completed several cooking courses, but it was difficult for her to get into the business affairs. Then, she suggested to Alex that if you take care of the whole business, I want to open a cafe. I would like to try one cafe first, and then, if it works out, I would like to open a chain of cafes. Alex gladly agreed. A year passed. Alex was able to melt Vanessa's heart, and a month later, they signed. Vanessa has never returned to Russia since she left for a distant country. She wrote letters to Valya's mom. Vanessa had a particularly warm attitude towards this woman. Sometimes she wrote to Aunt Camille helps. Then and there, she received treatment. She never gave a return address, and Vanessa signed all the letters. Your niece Jane